I use this analogy, this metaphor, whatever you want to call it. I call it my rocking chair scene. So I envision myself in a rocking chair at the end of my life. And I'm on that rocking chair. I see like a log cabin or something like that with a big open field. I'm on my rocking chair. I've got my wife next to me in her rocking chair. We're looking at this field, and there's just generations of family. There's my kids, there's my kids' kids. Everybody's running around playing and all that. And I'm thinking, okay, when I'm on my rocking chair, is the decision I'm making right now taking me closer to that vision, or is it pulling me away from that vision? Because that's how I want to end my life, is in that scene.
Hey. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm Dwanderful. I'm Dawn. You know what? Hold on.
I love it.
Okay, Glaze. We're going to cut right there. I can't say my own name today. Okay, Glaze. I'm starting over. And you know what's so funny, Ace? I never do that. But I started to say Dwanderful. It's like, the heck does that even mean? Okay, Glaze. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm your host, Dwan Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor. And I'm so excited that you're here with us today for another exciting episode. As you can see, I have this handsome gentleman with me. So that means he is today's a wicked smart man. So we're excited to find out about Ace and what he's doing and what kind of great information he has to share with us today. And our motto at Dwanderful is people before profits. So that's something that resonates with you. And you're like, hey, I really kind of like that. And you're at the right place. I want you to stay tuned, hang out with us today. Also, I would like you to go to my website, dwanderful.com, dwanderful.com. So I took my first name, Dwan, and the word wonderful, and I made a new word, Dwanderful. And when you opt in, you'll get a free ebook, How to Flip Your Way to a Fortune. I also have a short sale ebook there. So go get some free stuff and, hang out with us today. So first of all, Ace, I want to thank you for being on the show today. How are you?
I am doing excellent. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm excited to have you on. So the men are my wicked smart man. So you are the wicked smart man of the day today. So we're super excited about that. So what we like to do is we actually just kind of start off. We have a toast and, say hi to the audience. So I have water.
Cup of coffee.
So cheers to you. Thank you for being on the show today. And all of you, thank you for watching. Get a drink.
Salud.
Everybody that's watching, take a deep breath. Shake off whatever you got going on. So you can open your mind, have some fun, and have some learning, and just hang out with me and Ace for a little while. So Ace, what we like to do, just going to throw you straight in there to the wolves, is I like for you to tell us your name, how we get in touch with you, and then just like a 2-sentence summary of what you do. And I have some super fun questions, and we'll just kind of ask questions and see how you became Ace Haggerty. Right. So we want to know, what's your deal?
All right. Sounds good. Well, hey, I really appreciate the introduction. Like you said, my name is Ace Haggerty. Ace is my superhero name. It is not my birth name, but we might get to that at some point today. And I am a real estate investor by day and a structural engineer by day, but a superhero by night.
Oh. And how do we get in touch with you?
Say that again.
How do we get in touch with you?
Oh, I appreciate that. Anybody can go to my website, superherobydesign.com. On the main page, you can fill out your name and I believe email address. And I have a promotion going on right now. I wrote a book called Superhero by Design. It was about how I changed my life completely in 100 days. And it's a free offering right now. It won't be forever, but check it out. It talks about the story of how I transformed my life, completely turned it around in 100 days, and also gives people very simple tips, tools, strategies that they can use to turn their life around. I'm in real estate. I love real estate, but to me, everything goes back to mindset. So I'll probably talk about mindset over and over during this interview, but it's such a huge thing. So go on my website, sign up, get a free ebook, and it will get a hold of me and I will reach out to you.
Oh, I'm going to get a free ebook, Superhero by Design. I
That's
love
right.
that. I need a superhero. I guess Dwanderful would be my superhero name then.
Oh, I love that. That is an amazing superhero name.
Like, how wonderful am I right here?
That's
so
right.
I love that. So I love the real estate investor, structural engineer by day, superhero by night. So what is it? Let's just talk for a second about in the real estate investing or in real estate field. What's your niche or where are you in that?
Yeah. So I like to tell people when I come on shows that I am the guy that you need to talk to learn what not to do in real estate, because I'm one of those people that had the shiny object syndrome that a lot of investors have. So they'll go chase one thing for one part of their career. They're going to go chase something else, and they don't stick to one strategy, one type of investment, and really build that up. And so
I love that because I'm always telling people, stop chasing shiny objects.
Like, I
feel like a broken record, but it's like, stop doing that.
Yeah. It's there's been a common theme throughout my career. So as of right now, I am a developer in Nashville, but my specialty is short-term rentals. I've loved short-term rentals since Airbnb first came around, and I've been working on short-term rentals pretty much throughout my whole career, but now I'm focused 100% on it. But it was a long, windy, bumpy road to get to where I am right now. And I love how you are essentially the superhero of short sales, because
I have a registered trademark on short sales.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's incredible.
For over like 25 years. Yes, I do. As it applies to real estate investing. I have to preface that because there's short sales in stock, short sales in this, short sales in that.
Yep.
So it's what's called a supplemental short sale, a supplemental trademark, meaning you have the R. So you have the R, but it applies to real estate.
Gotcha.
The queen of short sales at your service.
That is incredible. That's actually how I got started in my career. I was working for a contractor at the time, and I had a buddy who was a real estate broker, and he came to me. He's like, "Man, I got this short sale going on. I know you're in construction, you're an engineer, all of that. Would you want to do the construction side of it? We could purchase it together, go in 50-50 partners, you do the work, and then I'll also sell it on the back end as the realtor." And at that time, I did not know anything about house flipping or short sales or anything like that. All I knew was what Chip and Joanne Gaines taught me on Fixer Upper. I was a huge fan of that show.
I love Chip and Joanna, though. I would love to meet them. Who doesn't love those two?
Oh, yeah. No, they have become personal heroes of mine, especially in the real estate business development part of my life. And yeah, he asked me if I wanted to do it. I said, yeah, let's do it. And for those of you who are listening, I'm sure that you guys are well versed on short sales from the amazing Dwan. But yeah, we picked it up. We got bank financing because I had my W-2 at the time, which was great, only having to throw 10% down. We fixed it up. We had to wait 90 days before we could relist it, but that gave me enough time to figure out what the heck I was doing, getting my crews out there. I was putting sweat equity in. And the most amazing thing about short sales is, one, you're saving the person from a foreclosure.
Yes.
Two, you're getting a pretty good deal. And three, on the back end, when you go to sell it, you're making a good profit. And my partner and I on that first deal walked away with net $90,000 on our first flip. And it was a very cosmetic flip. It didn't feel like that way at the time, but looking back on it, it was an absolute home run. And that's how I got started actually in the industry, was purchasing short sales to either flip or burr, so to speak.
Yeah.
get them refinanced, pull the money out, and have a long-term rental with no money out of pocket.
Oh, that's such a good story to hear. I love to hear anyone talk about any short sale things that they did because I've been doing them since the 90s. And, sometimes they're the thing, sometimes they're not the thing. But once you really get into doing short sales and you're working with the people in the bank and you really see it from the bank side, as far as the loan loss reserves and all the things that the bank has, banks will do them all the time. I mean, it's easy for the bank to take a short sale than let some homeowner drag the house through bankruptcy for 4 years. So I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
exactly.
And
And
90,000 on your first deal, like that's a solid home run, man.
oh yeah, well, you would think I would have been smart enough and something would have clicked that I would have been like, oh, maybe I should jump into this full time. But being a structural engineer, being conservative, I would just moonlight nights, weekends, and just continue to do one or two projects at a time for I think the first 4 to 5 years that I was doing this. But hey, there's so many benefits to doing this also with a W-2. So
Oh
I am
yeah.
not, yeah, I am not knocking that. Everyone has their own road. As long as they're hitting their goals and they're clear about what their goals are, it doesn't really matter how they get there as long as they keep
Yeah.
consistently taking action.
Yeah, as long the whole thing is like what you said. They just have to keep moving forward. If they'll just keep taking action, keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep moving forward, then you'll end up wherever it is that you need to be. But I know all kinds of people that still have their jobs and do real estate. And I know so many people that have rentals out the yin yang. I know I just want to keep my job, I like my job, I like what I'm doing. And they've got, I mean, they don't need to work. They've got so many rentals, but people like what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if somebody loves what they're doing, keep on doing it. I've met so many people that are crushing it with and still working their W-2 because they
Yeah,
love it. And the great thing about a W-2, besides being able to get banks freaking love you, even if you're making 40,000 a year, the banks absolutely love
that's
you.
true.
But the greatest thing about doing it with a W-2 is now, since you don't have as much time as somebody who doesn't have a job, but you learn how to delegate right off the bat. And I just love that because delegation, that's another struggle that I've gone throughout my career is I'm the guy that, since I'm the structural engineer, right? I want to inspect it. I
Yeah,
want to run my crews. I want to be there almost every single day.
yes,
And man, talk about wearing yourself out, burning yourself out. Like if you could learn how to delegate on the front end because you have no other option because you're working 8 to 5, by all means, that is a superpower when it comes to learning how to scale in this business is replacing yourself so that
yes.
you're not the one doing everything.
I laugh because that was the hardest thing for me to do was to delegate. I had to do every single thing. And once I started delegating, I was like, wow, investing is like so much more fun. I'm not exhausted every minute of the day. I'm not up to my eyeballs and things I don't like paperwork and bookkeeping. It's like, oh. And so, but I tell you what, I don't think I delegated one thing for like 3 years.
Mhm.
And the first thing I did, I like micromanaged the person. Like, listen, you want me to do this or you? I'm like, okay, you do it. Now, decades later, I'm like, listen, I delegate everything. Like literally, I delegate everything. If I delegate the housework, the laundry, delegate the grocery shopping, I delegate the errand running, I delegate all the things in the business that I don't like literally everything. I get on my shows because I like to interview people. Then I go, here you go, put this up on for me, and I don't want to see it till it's done. Like I delegate everything. I tell my husband, I say, I delegate everything except for you. He's the only thing I keep for myself. Everything else, I delegate everything. But it's hard to do. I'm a control freak. It's hard to do.
That's right. No, I'm right there with you 100%. One of the biggest learning lessons that I had in this whole journey was I property managed everything myself. And as you start to
I did
build up
too.
rentals, even if they're long-term rentals, like, and you've got somebody in there a year, 2 years, 3 years, it is a pain in the butt. Anytime you get that call, anytime there's a maintenance issue, new tenants, oh, even through COVID, it was an absolute nightmare. And the second I said enough is enough and I hired a property manager, one, the weight was completely lifted off my shoulders, but two, they did the job so much better than me.
so much
They
better.
were
I know.
much better. I will pay someone 9%, 10%, 12%. It doesn't matter. I will pay them almost anything not to deal with tenants anymore. It's just,
Oh,
it was such an eye-opening experience. And it was so easy to do. And taking a step back, it's like, hey, dummy, like, why didn't you do this before? But when you're in it and you want certainty and control, like
yeah.
it's really hard to break those habits.
I feel you, man. How old are you?
I just turned 40 a couple months ago.
Oh, happy birthday. 40. Look at you. You're just a
Like
little pup.
4
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
That's
so
right.
excited when I turned 40. I was like, oh my God, I'm turning 50. I was like, ooh, I'm turning 50. And I turned 60. And I was like, okay, now hold on a minute here. Like, let's slow this roll down just a little bit here. Now, you know what? That's a good age. I mean, any age is obviously good to be an investor, but just like the things that you're saying, I did so many of the same things. My first rental I bought 5 and I sold them in like 2 years. I thought I hate being a landlord. That's a
Yep.
what I don't know what I was thinking. But then I went to a workshop and learned about, delegating, property managers, the things you need. And so I thought, I'm gonna buy a couple more. And now I'm just like, I don't know what I was thinking. But it's our lack of knowledge. You
Yeah.
know, we don't know, and people often like with you, like, you get tenants and you don't like it, and people won't do that anymore. It doesn't work. And they stop doing it. But honestly, it's just knowing the right things or having the right steps or having the right people, or like you said, having a property manager and things are so fixable. And I find that people just get frustrated and go, that doesn't work for me. And they just quit. It's like real estate investing is one of the greatest things you can do. It's a great asset class. You own things, you build things, you create generational wealth, you have all kinds of freedom. Are there troubles and things? Of course. But you learn how to do it, what you need to keep, what you need to delegate. And next thing you know, you're like, oh man, this is so great. I'm glad I stuck with that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you 100%. The times in my career when I felt the most frustrated and the most like, I don't want to do real estate anymore, or this is just too much, it's because I'm doing it the wrong way. And
Yep.
like you said, once you start to delegate, it starts becoming fun again.
Yeah.
It's like when you first started out, I remember early in my career when I would buy a property, I would get so excited making that deal, negotiating, and then getting to the closing table, buying a new property. That's like the most fun part of real estate. It's just like, oh,
I
I
still
got a new
love
project.
it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. And if you could take those daily tasks and delegate it to somebody else, a quick story. It took me about 10 years to become financially free. And
Okay.
I have done, oh my goodness, probably close to 250 flips, bunch of buy and holds, short term, long term. And you think with those kinds of numbers that I would have hit financial freedom a long time ago, that it wouldn't have taken me almost a decade to do that. And I say that because my current business partner, he's not in the real estate business. He owns about 75 single family homes in the Poconos in Eastern Pennsylvania. But I always like to bring him up because he's a really good business owner. He
Mm-hmm.
knows how to delegate. He knows how to operate systems. He doesn't have time to do everything himself because he's running other businesses.
Yeah.
And when he had bought all those homes, he called me for guidance and things like that, but he partnered up with the right people. He partnered up with the right hard money guy. He partnered up with the right property manager who also managed the construction and the subcontractors.
Oh,
And
nice.
and then he worked with the right banks that didn't need seasoning and all that craziness that some banks ask for. And he was able to get them refied, pay off his money investor. And now he has 75 cash flowing single family homes. And he became financially free in less than 18 months.
Wow.
And I
That's
just,
something. I was
yeah,
a whole decade. Whole
yeah,
decade. And when I met
yep.
my husband, he's like, oh yeah, in 3 years, that. I was like, how'd you do that in 3 years? It took me 10. Like, I don't understand. How did that happen? But that's the nice thing though about people like you and me is we can work with other investors and newer investors, and we can cut that learning curve and say, look, it took me a decade to do this. I'll show you how to do this in 2 years,
Yep.
a year, or 18 months. But see, your partner, he did it all right. And it's just funny. We all have our different journeys. But I don't know. For me, I was just, I couldn't let go of stuff. And then
Yeah.
once I did, it was like I made so much more money. I was so much happier. I was sleeping better. Everything was better. It was like, what was I thinking?
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
know. You don't know what you don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I love certainty. And in this business, anything there's there's no certainty in
Yeah.
this business. Like it is crazy at times. Like all the craziest stories that I've experienced in my life have come through real estate one way or another, from Airbnbs to crazy tenants to everything that went with COVID to what's going on in the construction field and everything. It is such a crazy industry to be in. And the more certainty that you seek in this business, the more miserable you're going to be.
Oh yeah.
I tell people the most important real estate that you're going to ever have in your entire life is the 6 inches of real estate between your ears. Because if you don't change your mindset, and that's what I push, like all of my services with Superhero by Design and everything is about mindset. Because you can know every strategy that there is in real estate, but you won't get above wherever your mind is at. You're going to hit
Yeah.
that glass ceiling every single time. And until you change your mindset, you're not going to hit that next level or that next level. And I've experienced it way too often throughout my career.
Yeah.
And even some of the craziest things that I've been through, like bad partnerships, businesses that freaking blew up, all of that. I look back at those I look back at those experiences, but those were the times that I was stretched the most and
Yeah.
that my reality was expanded. Like there was a turnkey rental business that I was in. This is where I got the majority of flips under my belt.
Okay.
We had bought, I think, 75 houses in the first year. Same amount
That's
pretty
a
much in,
lot.
yeah, same amount in the second year. And then COVID hit, all that fun stuff. But that business, I was only doing maybe about a dozen flips a year. So, still decent volume, but man, I partnered with a guy who just completely expanded my reality of what was possible. He raised the money, he found the properties. I ran all the construction side of it. It was also out of state. I was in Tennessee, but these houses were in both Ohio and Georgia. And so doing out of state turnkey rentals. And for anybody listening that doesn't know what a turnkey rental is, it's essentially just buy it, rehab it, rent it, and sell it to an investor as a long-term rental that's ready to go.
Hmm.
And and so we did that, but 75 houses in a year, that was completely out of my stratosphere of possibility. And he made it happen. Now that partnership ended up not working out because I wanted to keep these and get them into some sort of portfolio loan so
Right.
that we could cash flow and become financially free. However, my business partner didn't want to do that. He wanted to sell them to investors and cash out and just make that quick flip type money essentially. And so having those different principles and what our end goals were, especially with partners, is so important to talk about on the front end, what your exit strategy is. If you
Yeah.
ever partner up, always make sure one, your values are aligned, but two, you go over the exit strategies. What's exit strategy one, two, and hopefully there's even a third or a fourth if you can. But yeah, so it's crazy how that was one of the most stressful times in my life because once again, I was driving 6.5 hours from Nashville to Georgia, or 4.5 hours from Nashville to Cincinnati
Yeah.
every weekend, pretty much, or during the week. And just drove me insane, drove me nuts. Thankfully, I got bought out of that business, learned a whole heck of a lot. But if it wasn't for taking a risk
Yes.
on a partner who is kind of almost like a gunslinger and just completely in a different stratosphere mentally, I never would have gotten to the level that I got to, or it would have just taken me a whole heck of a lot longer because he showed me things that I did not even think were possible. And so, for as tough as those times were, I am so grateful for them.
Yeah, that sounds like actually, I mean, I get it. A lot of partnerships. I've had partners too that, going in with, oh, it's gonna be great. And then it's like, you're not really that great at partners once you're in it. So I've
Yep.
had plenty of those on my own too. But if it helps you grow and helps you learn, and you don't end up like bankrupt sleeping on the streets, I feel like it's all part of the bigger lesson. And
That's right.
you have to learn. I mean, shoot, I've been doing this for like 35 years. I'm still learning things all the time.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think you ever know everything.
No, no. And the minute you think you do, that's a bad sign.
Oh yeah, when you think you know everything, you better watch out.
That's right. Because
You
something's
are.
gonna come.
It's like, mm-mm. So let's go back a little bit. When you were like eighth and you were 13, 14, 15, like who was that little young man? Where were you living? What were you doing? Were you working? Like who was that pre-adult?
Pre-adult, I was born in San Francisco, grew up in the Bay Area. So I was living in the East Bay in Fremont, which was just a little big suburb in the east part of the Bay Area. And yeah, as a teenager, adolescent, went to a private Catholic high school. So that was a fun little experience, but made some amazing friendships. And I was just one of those kids that just really did well at school. I listened to my parents 100%, worked really hard. I was in a band, played the drums, cool punk rocker type kid, and really just enjoyed my friendships. I got a job when I was 15 and a half as a busboy. So work ethic was instilled in me at a very young age. I was raised by two parents that were blue collar workers
Yeah.
and really just taught my view of life back then was work hard, keep your head down, do your best, and everything will turn out. So work hard, go to a good college, do well there, get a good job, and then you can sail off into the sunset, essentially the American dream, or so I thought.
No, I know that is. It's like that's what everyone teaches their kids. Go to school, keep your head down, get good grades, go to college, get a good job, work for the man until you're this old, and life will be wonderful. It's like, but who's the man? Like, really, who is that, and why do we want to work for that person?
No, no, not at all. When my first job out of college, so I did really well in college. I went to Berkeley for graduate school. I did exceptionally well, top of my class, actually the top in my class. Got the good consulting job right out of college and everything. And then less than 3 years later, the big recession hit.
Yep.
And I was on the chopping block. I was one of the engineers of the company that was let go, I think the second or third wave of layoffs. And I just felt like a number at that point.
Yeah.
Like a complete number. And I wasn't doing real estate at the time. I wasn't even focused on that. Shoot, I was in my early 20s. So all I was focused on in my early 20s was where are the bars at and where are the girls at? Because
Oh yeah.
That's all I was interested in back then. And
You're like, I'm smart. I got a degree. I'm an engineer. I'm top of my class. Show me where the women are. Show me where the drinks are. Let's go have fun. Like, woo! I could see
oh yeah.
that like that, and you think like, I'm gonna have the best life ever.
Yeah. And the craziest thing is I didn't realize it at the time, but I was absolutely miserable because I started going to bars more,
Yep.
started chasing tail more. All these things that were very short-lived ways of not really knowing of what's going on inside of me that I was so miserable. But I knew after I got laid off that I had to do something different. And
Yeah.
so I didn't jump into real estate or anything like that. I had no clue about that back then, but I did find a construction company that needed an engineer. So they did engineering and construction.
Mhm.
And the owner was just this amazing, amazing man. And he hired me. I was started off as one of their engineers to begin with,
Uh-huh.
and he threw me under a house. He was like, if you're going to learn how to really build a house, I'm putting you literally in the trenches. So we did a lot of foundation work, structural work, retaining walls, things like that, drainage work in California. This was down in Gilroy. And he threw me under a house day one and said, I don't want to see you out of this house for 6 months, essentially meaning you're
Oh,
going to be in the field. And the reason he did that was one, to teach me how to actually build, but two, he also knew that if I did the worst work, I was a laborer and they gave me the nastiest jobs. And he told all the foremen to give me the worst, nastiest jobs. He said, only afterwards if you prove yourself to these guys by doing the work that nobody else wants to do, you don't complain, you just get down and do it, you are going to earn the respect of these guys. And he was absolutely right. I didn't say a
Oh.
word. I just said, what do I need to do? Okay, I'll do it. And a lot of times I would hear them laughing because they just gave me the nastiest stuff. And but at that end of the time,
I can just imagine, because these are like construction guys, right?
oh yeah, oh
Oh,
yeah,
you're like the college boy.
oh yeah, yeah. I was a
Oh gosh, yeah.
pretty
I
boy,
can just
college boy.
imagine.
Oh yeah, but trust me, I wasn't dressed all nicely. I got my construction clothes, my my steel toe boots, my carpenter pants,
Yeah.
all of that, my flannel. Um, but yeah, after that, I got out of that crawl space after 6 months, and he's like, "All right, you're going to do some engineering now, but you're also going to be leading crews as a project manager." And I was like, "All right." And the minute I stepped on those job sites, the guys knew that I had earned my stripes, and they let me lead them seamlessly. And it surprised me because most of these guys were twice my age, but I
Well,
had earned their
that's the thing with
respect.
those older guys. If you don't prove yourself, they're never going to respect you no matter what. They might follow what you do, but they're going to be like, "He what does he
Yeah,
know?" So you
yeah,
have to prove yourself to people like that.
yeah, exactly. And so the one of the great lessons I learned from that is lip service is cheap. It does not matter what you say. People do not care what you're saying. They want to see what your feet are doing, how you're moving, how you're conducting yourself. Because we know, especially in this business, a lot of people can talk. They can talk the talk, they can sell themselves, but you got to really look at what they are doing. How are they moving? Because that speaks volumes. And so I learned that lesson very early on in my career, which has just served me to be a leader
Oh
by
yeah.
leading by example, not by what I say. So I'm not actually a very big talker. I'll say what I need to say, but I will lead by action no matter what I'm doing in my life. And the other thing I got out of that job is he started to groom me to take over the company. So I had an opportunity to learn how to be a business owner. Now, from my stories of wanting to control and do everything myself, obviously I didn't learn the lessons of delegation at the time, but at the same time, he did groom me. I did a lot of the hiring. I had to fire people. Oh, talk about stress and worry and fear.
Oh
Having to
my god.
fire somebody, especially construction workers. Oh my
Oh yeah,
goodness.
that's the word. I hated doing that.
Yeah, it's part of the job though, it's one of those things that it's a requirement. It
Yeah.
you
No, it is.
people will treat you the way you let them treat you. That was a huge thing for me, is learning that I need to set not only the right expectation, but follow up with that and not allow people to treat me the way that they want to treat me. And
Oh,
so, even though I will respect everybody all day long, that it doesn't happen the other way around. You gotta stand up for yourself because nobody else will. And so just all these like little nuggets, things I learned throughout the years, and then moving to Tennessee, breaking off on my own,
how
like
did you go from being in San Francisco to Tennessee? That's a jump in lifestyle and people.
that it is. Well, really it just goes back down to thinking about perspective. I use
Uh-huh.
this analogy, this metaphor, whatever you want to call it. I call it my rocking chair scene. So I envision myself in a rocking chair at the end of my life. And I'm on that rocking chair. I see like a log cabin or something like that with a big open field. I'm on my rocking chair. I've got my wife next to me in her rocking chair. We're looking at this field, and there's just generations of family. There's my kids, there's my kids' kids. Everybody's running around playing and all that. And I'm thinking, okay, when I'm on my rocking chair, is the decision I'm making right now taking me closer to that vision, or is it pulling me away from that vision?
I like
Because
that.
that's how I want to end my life, is in that scene, sunsetting, all that stuff,
That's a
cicadas
really great.
buzzing, all
I've
that
never
stuff.
heard anyone use that analogy. So you want to be in Tennessee in your rocking chair with all your family out, hanging out, living the life in
Exactly.
country.
Yep. Yep. And me just kind of, it's like my kingdom, so to speak. I'm just looking out at my kingdom, my family, my community, my tribe, the people that mean everything to me in the world. And so the decision to move from the Bay Area to Nashville, Tennessee, I thought about that and I was like, well, my father was also born in San Francisco and he
Mhm.
passed away about 40, 50 miles south in San Jose, never left the area, never traveled. He was completely content with it. But I looked at my life and I was like, man, I never thought I'd leave California. I never thought I'd leave the Bay Area. But
Yeah.
if I don't, I think I was 35 at the time, 34, something like that. I was like, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? There's always going to be tomorrow, always going to be tomorrow,
Always.
but enough tomorrows get you to the end of your life. So I had to take action right then and there. It had been something in my gut that I had been ignoring for a long time, but finally it was like, all right, I got to cut ties. And you know what? It was the best thing I have ever done in my life. Hey, I've been divorced since then. The woman I was with, we moved together. It was great. I've gone through so many ups and downs in business and personal life since then. But when I look back at that move, that still is the best thing that I have ever done for myself in my entire life.
I love it. And, like I said to you before we started, my whole family, like all my great grandparents, my entire family tree is from Tennessee. And the people in Tennessee are amazing.
Yep.
Like they're just really great people. They are like the salt of the earth people. And when you get your community there, they'll support you and love you and stand by you. And I love the people from the South. They're like the best people.
Oh, I would agree 100%. It is definitely a different culture from California, but and I'm not going to
It's
get
like
into
night and day, man. They must have thought when you first got there, you were like an alien.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Californians, a lot of New Yorkers that move there. So there's like, another California. I'm like, hey, I'm pre-COVID California. Because once COVID hit, oh my God, it was like the floodgates opened up for California and New York
Oh,
to go
I
to
know.
Tennessee.
I know.
Um, but something like that. And politics aside, I was so happy to be in Tennessee, a state
Mhm.
where they allowed us. I kept working. I never took a day off. I
Yeah.
kept building. I kept doing engineering work, and life stayed the same for me. Freeways were empty, which was amazing at that time. But aside from that, like people really rallied together. Actually, a week or two before COVID hit, there was a big tornado that came through Nashville. I actually landed in Nashville, and not too many people remember about that because COVID hit 2 weeks later. But the whole community just stopped to go into these areas. And most of the areas that got hit in Nashville were lower income areas. And
Was
we
that
just
that
bought
big
as
tornado that like wiped out like the Opry Mills Mall and the Grand Old Opry and like that whole area there?
it didn't hit the Opry. It hit some other pretty prominent
I
areas.
remember that.
Yeah, and it was just crazy because everybody stopped working and came together. We all essentially rushed and stuff was starting to close down because of COVID, but people didn't care. Like we grabbed whatever we could. And the best part of it, all my investor friends and real estate friends, like we all rallied together. We brought shopping carts and filled it with a whole bunch of stuff and went door to door to these houses to give blankets, food, clothing, whatever we had, even
Yeah.
literally the shirts off our back if it came up. And it was so amazing to see how a community can come together so quickly. I know that happens at other parts that get hit hard, but shoot, we didn't even have anybody come in at that point. We're talking immediately people running around with chainsaws cutting down trees that had fallen over on power
Yeah.
lines and things like that. It was the most amazing thing I have ever been a part of. And then COVID hit, but that didn't stop me or our investor friends from continuing to do that work even as things were shutting down and they were saying stay home, stay home. We're like, no, this ain't going to happen. Stuff
No,
still
you
needs to get
gotta
done.
take care of all the people, man. You can't do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you are into so I want to talk about mindset a little bit.
Yes.
You're into the short-term rentals is your focus. Is that
Correct.
still your focus? That's like your main focus.
That is my main focus. Yes.
Okay. Now what made you decide to choose that?
Oh, that is a great question. Well,
There's a million things. Like, what made you choose that?
one, the returns are fantastic. Obviously, since interest rates have gone up this past year, that hurts it a little bit,
Yeah.
obviously. But I think what I love about short-term rentals is it just, for me, it just comes back to people. When I first started using Airbnb, I would specifically pick places that I traveled where I would be living with people. It wasn't the solo empty house or anything like that. It's a room within a house. First time went to Nashville, stayed with a family. First couple times actually to visit Nashville to check it out, stayed with a family. You get to know so much about the people and the community and their history. It just was such an amazing concept. I used to couch surf a lot when I would travel around the world, just couch surfing because one, it was cheap as heck, and two, you get to meet people. So it was like the same thing with Airbnb, and I always fell in love with that. And then to be on the other side of it, being able to host people is
Mhm.
something that I've always loved. I love my love language is acts of service. So I think that aligns with what I like to do. Is just I love to
Mine is
entertain.
too. Mine is too.
Oh yeah,
I did that test. It's like, oh, because I like acts of service, but I do it. That's my thing too.
exactly,
I
exactly. And
get
so
it.
I think, and yeah, so that mixed with the cash flow that comes in, mixed with just all the creativity that you can get when you put together a short-term rental, it's absolutely incredible. And so I've been doing it most of my career, dabbling here and there, but then I'd get sidetracked. Oh, I'm going to flip. Oh, I'm going to do turnkeys. Oh, I'm going to do development. I do all these other things. But then when it comes back to it, I keep coming back to it. And now I'm like, all right, I'm financially free. However, if I really want to scale something, I have to focus. And so I was like, what do you want to focus on? Well, I was like, I love Airbnbs. It's in Nashville, people are scared to death because there's such a surplus of Airbnbs and, you know, rents have gone down. There was that tweet the other day of someone saying all these hot markets are down 40% year over year on rentals, which I think is a bunch of BS because AirDNA doesn't show those same numbers. But hey,
Yeah.
we won't get into the specifics of that. Everything has its up and downs. You've been through enough
Oh yeah.
real estate
Always.
cycles that it, like you said, short sales. There's a time and a place. Every part of the real estate cycle, you could do certain strategies that are going to work better than others, and then other times of the cycle, you got to switch it up. So, but the thing with Airbnbs that I love is whether they're going up or down, everyone is going to want to travel. Everyone is going to want to go to places like Nashville or Orlando or New York. And I know there's so many rules, regulations, this and that, but the more rules, regulations, and the harder it is, means there's going to be less competition, or you have to get more creative.
That's
You
half
have
the
to do
riffraff.
things different. Oh my goodness, not follow the herd. Well, that's how you're going to get different results is by doing something different. Not that all these gurus talk about, oh, just do this one strategy. It's going to be great, 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 great. And they're just selling you a course. I can't stand those guys. I've fallen for them early in my career. I've paid tens of thousands of dollars to really get nothing. Absolutely.
No,
Like
I
almost
get it.
nothing.
I 100% understand that.
So, but long story short, short-term rentals, ramping it up. I love it. And guess what? I get to be a lot more creative these days
Yeah.
because of this.
I could just see you having tons of short-term rentals, some little bed and breakfast, like getting to know people, hosting people. I could see you doing that.
Yeah, I'll set up a little lemonade stand in the front, like just give them an experience.
Ah, that's so much fun though. I do like that. I'm always curious, like when someone is in a single niche, like what they liked about it, what led them, because there are like there's a million things you can do in real estate. And some people, I hear what they're doing. And I'm like, well, I've never even thought about that. And the funny thing is, I don't have any Airbnbs. I think by
Oh,
the time
really?
that came
Yeah.
along, no, not one. By the time that kind of became a thing, my husband and I started buying buildings and we're sort of rehabbing a town. And
Oh,
when
cool.
I travel, I love to go to Airbnbs. I love to go to them. Like my kids and I will go and just we're renting one in September for like 19 of us, like a whole farm and land and
Yeah.
a barn and animals. And I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to do this. So I love them, but I have never crossed over into that yet. I'm gonna have to
It's
get a couple so I can say I have a few.
no, exactly,
And
and
I'll
make
call
them
you with
different.
questions like, "Hey, Ace, listen, what do I need to do? Because I want to cut my learning curve."
Yeah, exactly. Take decades and put them into weeks or months, and yeah, don't just do the normal Airbnb. Make them Dwanderful, right?
That's it.
Like
I can have my own brand.
exactly. Hey, I interviewed somebody from Louisville. She is an amazing probate investor
Mhm.
and great marketer. And she told me something on the show the other day, which I will remember forever. She's like, different is better than better. And that just like hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just like, you're absolutely right. You don't have to be the
Different
best.
is better than better.
Oh yeah. And
I like
in
that.
this, yeah. And in this time, you got to differentiate yourself. Like we talked about, break away from that herd. If you want the same results as everybody else, do what everybody else does. But if you want something better, something different, something extraordinary, something wonderful, do it different.
Yeah, no, I could not agree with you. I'm always feel like now I don't want to be part of the herd. I want to be the one that's blazing the trail. I want to make the trail. People can come behind me. I don't want to come behind other people.
That's right.
I have always had that trailblazer mentality, and I'm still like that. It's like, I'll make the trail. Y'all can come with me. So let's
That's
jump
right.
topics a little bit. Tell me what's your favorite band of all time?
Oh my goodness, my favorite band of all time, Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin,
Oh,
Led
I love
Zeppelin,
Led
Led
Zeppelin.
Zeppelin. I freaking love those guys. And I know they don't play anymore. So Greta Van Fleet is like the younger version of Led Zeppelin. So I do love me some Greta Van Fleet. They are an amazing band as well. But yeah, I would say Led Zeppelin, that and Green Day, because I grew up where
I
Green
like
Day
Green
grew
Day
up.
too. Yeah, Green Day is good too. My kids are in their mid to late 30s, so they always loved Green Day. But then I started listening, I was like, I really like Green Day's music. I love Led Zeppelin too. I love Led Zeppelin from back in the day. And so, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food. So, man, I'm very strict with my diet. I'm very strict. But if I would have to say favorite food, I would definitely say probably one of the unhealthiest things you can eat, fried chicken. And I love Nashville hot chicken. It is the real deal. Hattie B's, Prince's, whichever you think is better. I think Hattie B's is amazing. They're branching out all over the country right now. I saw them in Dallas a couple months ago,
Oh,
but real Nashville hot chicken is where it's at. Oh, it's so good.
you cannot live in the South and not love fried chicken.
Oh, love fried chicken. It's so unhealthy, but it is
My aunts
so
and my
good.
grandmas, I used to always be so excited to go to the house. 'Cause like my mom, she's from Tennessee and then they moved over to Ohio. My mom wasn't really like big on cooking the way like my aunts and my grandmas were. I was always like, oh my God, we're gonna go to grandma's, we're gonna eat fried chicken every day. We're gonna have, green beans that they canned with like, 10 pounds of bacon grease in there. And I always just look so forward to those meals.
Yep.
I
Yeah, the
can't,
Southern meals, so good.
and the
So
desserts,
good.
oh my God. The South is
Pecan pie. Yep. Chest pie. Peach
it's
cobbler. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
all of it. So, what's your favorite part of the day? From the whole day, where's your favorite time you go, this is my best part of the day?
Oh, my best part of the day is the morning. I am such a morning person. I'm a big fan of cold showers. Right now I'm doing a 30-day cold shower challenge where I have to do 10-minute cold showers every morning. And the thing is up here, I'm in East Pennsylvania right now. I've been here for the last couple of weeks. Uh, the house I'm staying at is on well water. So it's not that warm city water that you get. This stuff is like low 50-degree, straight out of the ground, ice cold, frigid water. And the first time I did a 10-minute shower in it, I was yelling, screaming, hitting my chest, singing, dancing, doing whatever I could not to think about all the pain and the numbness that my body was experiencing. I'm on day 20 or 21 right now,
For
and
you.
it still sucks. It's still cold, but man, that just rejuvenates me. Like I wake
Oh,
up
it
sometimes
does.
tired or groggy, and man, that will get your adrenaline kicked in. It gets the dopamine going, and you are ready to attack the rest of the day. So I love my morning. I love my morning rituals. cold showers is a huge part of it, or just throwing on some good music
Yeah.
and just jumping around, dancing, getting that body
Yeah.
moving. Like I feel unstoppable
Yeah.
after that in the morning. I love that time of day. And we're not talking 9, 10 in the morning. We're talking 4:30, 5:30 in the morning. I'm an
You're the
early
early
riser.
guy.
Oh, I'm one of those guys. Yep, for sure.
That is really. I moved. So I'm in Colorado right now, and when I met my husband, I was living in Florida. So we have a house in Florida. We have a house in Colorado, and we're in the mountains. We're at 9,000 feet. Like right now, I'm in the mountains in Colorado, and I remember the first time I came up to visit Bill, because I'm coming from Florida. So no matter how cold the water is, it's never cold. And I was brushing my teeth, and I just turned on the faucet and, swished that water. And I'm telling you, I screamed. I was like, why is this water so cold? And our well is 600 feet. And I am telling you,
Woo.
that water comes out with like chunks of ice in it. It is cold. Cold. I had never been around such cold water. I was stunned water could be that cold out of a faucet.
Oh yeah. I did not believe it myself. Hey,
I couldn't get over.
showers in yeah, showers in Nashville in the summer are like almost like a sauna. It's nice and lukewarm, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, this ain't doing it. This ain't doing it. Yeah, up here on well water, I'm like, oh my
That
goodness.
well water. No, that well water will seriously get you. Okay, so one more time, tell everyone how they can find you. How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, just go to the website, superherobydesign.com. Right there on the front page, put in your name and I think email address. You'll get put onto the mailing list and all of that. It will inform me. If you have any questions, reach out. I answer all the emails myself. I am huge on personal contact with people. As you know, in this business, it's all
Mhm,
about relationships.
mhm.
And since I've been able to hit this part of where I'm at in my career, I said, I'm a real estate investor and an engineer by day, but at night I'm a superhero. And that's really my passion is superhero by design. I really just want to help people grow. I just want to give, I want people to experience the life that people like yourself and I get the opportunity to be in. This is our reality.
Hey, we're blessed, man. No joke. We're blessed.
Exactly. And I'm just so grateful for everything that's happened, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's all led me to this point. And I've done some pretty insane things in my life, and I'm just so blessed to be able to serve other people because that's really what it's all about. Like real estate is great. It'll bring in lots of money. It'll get you to places that you never thought you would get to before. But at the same time, too, once you start giving to people, and that's why I love doing a podcast as well, is I'm having you on my podcast after this. Like, I want people
Excited.
to know you. I want people to meet you because what you've done for your life is inspiring and empowering to so many people, especially being a woman in this industry. Like, it is amazing
And
what
I
you've
started
been able to
35
do.
years ago. There were not very many women
Right?
in this field. It was the boys' club all the way around.
Exactly. Exactly. And so just by telling your story, I get to have people like you on to tell your story to inspire the next person and the next person. And once you start living a life of service to others, oh, your bucket is always filled. It's overflowing at that point. You get so much more out of helping someone else accomplish what they want to accomplish than you would ever get accomplishing what you want to accomplish yourself.
I agree. All right, so I always write down a few things and take some notes. So what I like to try to do, because this session where I interview other people, I call it "Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires," because I like to find out like what all the successful people are doing. Because something you're doing, someone could have heard this and go like, "Wow, that is a light bulb for another person." And I'm just always curious, how people think and what makes them tick. So I'm going to give
Yeah.
a little summary. We're going to give a summary and see if we were able to get like a smidge inside the mind of Ace Haggerty. So first, Ace, it's your superhero name, which I love. Your superherobydesign.com. I love that. You talk a lot about mindset, which I don't think people realize. I don't know how much you talk about it. I don't think people ever realize it's truly the key. It's the
It is
key, the
the
key,
key.
the key. You teach people by telling them what not to do, which I thought that was really funny too. And you were raised in San Francisco, went to private school. You were super smart. You were in Berkeley, top of your class. You played the drums. So, when you played the drums, did you play Led Zeppelin?
Oh, John Bonham was my absolute hero. I loved it. I played exactly like him. Well, not as good, but I played exactly like him. I emulated him to a T as well as I could. I love that guy so much.
Love it. You were a busboy, so you had your work ethic, you had all your stuff going on. And then you got working for this guy, and I like it. I just wrote down threw you underneath the house. So you had to work under house. You're an engineer, civil engineer, clearly a smart guy to have that. And this guy had you working under houses, how to build them, how to do that, but built mostly to build the respect of the other people that you were now going to oversee them. And that's important because older people don't want to respect younger people unless you prove yourself. So I love that guy. I think played a good role in your life because people have to respect you in any at any age or anything to want to hear what you have to say. So I love that. You started doing deals in Ohio and Georgia. You live in Tennessee now, so you made a big move thinking about your rocking chair when you're old in your chair, got your wife, kids, grandkids. Where do you want to be? You want to be in Tennessee. I love that. I'm going to share that with my younger people. That's a great thing. You love the short-term rentals. That's your thing. And so when I come to Nashville and we visit, we're going to listen to Led Zeppelin. We're going to eat some fried chicken. And you're getting up in the morning. I'm getting up later.
There we go.
I will not be joining you on the 4:30 morning. And you are about service to others, which is probably the best thing that you could be. So is that like a little bit inside the minds of Ace?
Oh, yes. 100%. You got
Good.
it.
Okay, now last thing. So first of all, everyone, if you all have had fun today and you're listening and you're laughing and like, look how cute he is, like honestly, and you had some fun with us today, I want you to follow his podcast. I want you to follow my podcast. I want you to subscribe. I want you to leave us a 5-star review because podcasts are definitely a labor of love. And we do them to help educate you and help you learn the right things in the right ways and find your niches and cut your learning curve and probably not do all the dumb things that all of us have done that have podcasts. So follow and like and subscribe on both. Opt in over also to superherobydesign.com and then go to my website, dwanderful.com. Opt in, you'll get a free ebook, and I have a free training program called the Top 7 Real Estate Investing Strategies for Today's New Market. You'll also get that. And, just follow both of us. We do this to help you to be more successful. Okay, so the last thing, Ace, is I want you to give us a parting word of wisdom, but it can just be a word.
I would say if it was just one word, belief.
Okay, believe. Now, what does belief mean to you?
To me, I didn't realize this, but when I first was starting out, I went to the local RIA. So if you're not going to your local RIA, go, because it's a great place to learn. It's a great place to network. But there was a woman that came up one of the first times I went to the Nashville RIA, and she said, I want everybody to say this out loud. I am an investor. I am a real estate investor. And it was hard for me to say that at that time, even though I had been doing flips and buy and holds, I didn't fully see myself as an investor. And so when I talk about Superhero by Design and the 100 days when I transformed my life, I decided to be that person at the end of the 100 days, the guy that wrote an entire book in 100 days, the guy that dropped 45 pounds, got down to 7% body fat, the guy who was just kicking ass, taking names, climbing the Colorado 14er that he was always deathly afraid to do. I did all of that in 100 days because I believed at that day one that I was already that person. And by changing your mindset to becoming a future person today, all you need to do after that is just take action. You need to align your mind, line yourself up with who you want to be. I am an investor. And once you do that, everything seems to take care of itself. It's like magic. It's the universe coming together for you. So belief is my one word.
I love it. Amen. I love that. I always like to hear people tell me what that word means to them, because if someone hears the word belief, they might think something different. So it's always good to hear what that means to you. And I love that. I love that. Okay, everyone. So listen, thank you for being on today. We're super excited. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Again, Ace, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. And remember, folks, that the truth is in the red letter. All right, everybody. Ciao.